Hello everybody, this is Desmond520 here, back again with another video. I'm being a bit quiet because stuff's going on, aka work for some people. So I'm going to be doing this a bit more quiet, but that just means a bit less in the editing sector. Today we'll be going over the beginning engineer loadout that I like to use, and how to get to it, and also some alternatives. Overall, just as comments before I go into the loadouts, the engineer is by far the most versatile in terms of beginning loadouts, because not only do you have access to submachine guns, or PDWs in this case, and many of them are easily unlocked. Well, as I said, many of the assignment-based ones / DLC ones are unlockable very, very easily early on. Literally one of them you can unlock as soon as you get rank 10, even if you have not touched the engineer class before, believe it or not. And otherwise, I would say that you also have the fact that they unlock carbines, and 2 of the guns you can unlock fairly early on. Well, all the carbines you unlock early on within the first 2 and the 1 DLC carbine are all fairly good. But either way, let's get into it, and let's start talking about the engineer class. Okay, so simply put, like I said, there's a lot of versatility in this, so first things first, I'm doing these based on recommendations for newer players, and for players who are obviously, or potentially not very good at the game. In terms of what you want, you can use any of the guns listed here, as well as the other ones I have that you will gain access to within a similar span of time. So let's get into it. So for my choice for the best PDW for this, and this is the one you'll see in the first, or at least for most of the gameplay, that is the MP7. As for a non-DLC counterpart, you will not get one, get a gun close to this until around, I would say, until towards the end of your progression. But overall, the MP7 is a very good gun. It is slightly, or say, it is a kind of low damage gun, but the difference is that it has extremely good hip fire. It has a built-in angle grip, or in this case folding grip is the name of it, but which means that it will have the same effect as an angle grip, meaning that you can tap fire better. It has decent iron sights, decent stats all around, a 40 round mag, and it reloads quite fast. Overall, it's just the best one you can get for versatility in the game early on. And that would be my pick for the SMG from there. If you want an SMG and you can't pick one from DLC, I would recommend using the MX4 until you start unlocking some of the later ones. As for your carbines, there are 2 effective choices that I have seen be used, all depending on your gameplay, however. If you are a very, very close range player, I would recommend using the MP7. The next option for close range players I like to use is the MTAR-21, which can be unlocked by simply put completing the multi-talent assignment. And simply what you need to do is you need to end up getting kill with a hand grenade, a kill with an assault rifle, SMG, and I believe LMG, and then you will have the assignment done. This gun is this gun is the fastest killing of all the carbines in terms of, in terms of all the standard damage carbines. There is one that kills slightly faster, but that's based on damage, not fire rate, and is the fastest firing carbine that you can get. Overall, it's just really good at close range, though it does suffer from pretty bad reloads and somewhat unruly recoil. As for my choice of the most versatile, or the one that you would like to use if you were going to be doing a lot of longer range engagements, I would recommend the AK-5C, which is the first carbine you unlock. Simply put, good damage, good range, very, very low recoil. The biggest issue with it early on is you need to get that first 10 kills for the scope, and otherwise you can pretty much just use the gun as the gun's effectively the ACR of this game. It's just super easy to use, and I can even recommend it on the assault class and stuff like that. That's how good it is. Okay. On to the secondary, we're sticking with the P226. Nothing big there. I've already said P226 is my godsend pistol. It's good, you don't have to waste much on it. Yeah, sorry about the clipping, but onto your gadgets. Now this is where things get a bit weird. I would say, even though in this gameplay I'm using the RPG, that is a higher level unlock. Up until you unlock the RPG, just stick with the first rocket launcher. Though if you are planning on unlocking the MP7, you must use the Stinger that you unlock, which I believe is your third actual gadget unlock. So you will use that to unlock the MP7, and then you can just continue progressing there. Otherwise, just stick with the MBT law. The law works perfectly fine and it effectively does the same thing. And in a lot of ways, it's actually better than the RPG. So, as for your secondary gadget, I would recommend running the repair tool over everything else. But I do know people that run mines, so you can run the starter mines that you get. I just like running the repair torch better. Or I think it's better, because it has more usage. Otherwise, that's about it. And in our... Well, I guess I'll talk about this now. In our next video, we'll start going over the field upgrades. As up to this point, you will probably unlock maybe one of the extra field upgrades, maybe two, on your way up there. So... just as like a PSA, we'll start talking about those in the next video, which the next one will be support as the list goes on. And yeah, on to the upgrades to this. So firstly, overall, you just want to level up the weapons as fast as possible. I'm not going over attachments because all of them really, as long as you can get a red dot scope on them, which they all unlock within 10 kills, the guns work completely fine as is, and you can just upgrade them as you please. So there's not much dependence on weapon attachments here. As for my recommendations of different weapons maybe going forward and stuff like that, would be running the, or in the case of the MP7, you could run other SMGs, such as the P90, which you can unlock from the campaign. For those who may be asking as well why I don't include the campaign weapons, that's because a lot of people don't do the campaign for Battlefield 4, for Battlefield 4, and I don't think they're necessary in this because a lot of people do it once they've got most of the other guns, so they can just finish unlocking stuff. And otherwise, I would say the best SMG in terms of versatile use would actually be the CBJMS. At least when you're kind of upgrading it, I guess, because of or as an upgrade to this. So if you want an alternative to the AK-5C, that's maybe within your class, I'd recommend the CBJMS. And for the carbines, you pretty much start out with the best of the best. I could say I could recommend the AN90, or not the AN, the A91, I believe it is. And otherwise, it's mostly just personal preference. I can't really say much in terms of upgrades. For gadgets, you can run the small, the RPG, whatever. Your biggest difference will be pick your rocket launchers based on your what you're doing. So, if you're planning on being able to take, if you want to be able to take on both sides of the spectrum of targets, go with an unguided rocket launcher. If you plan on going against strictly ground vehicles, I would recommend the MBT Law or the Javelin. If you're going straight up against aircraft, you're using either the Eagle or the Stinger. Depending on how good you are with the Eagle, you probably are always choosing the Stinger. And for I guess what you would like to call the anti-everything. Like if you're just like a god at aiming, or you want a tow missile at your disposal, you can use the SRAW. And that's pretty much what the SRAW is. The SRAW is literally just a mobile tow missile that you can just fire at any point, which I think is kind of funny. Obviously, it's mostly used against aircraft, but it is a pretty decent anti-tank weapon as well. So I would put that into the anti-all category, just that it's a bit more specific in the skill cap. So that's about it, guys. I actually thought I was going to have a lot more gameplay needed for this video, but it looks like I'll be done with this before I even get to the point of using the MTAR-21. So yeah, in terms of the next video, I'm going to start getting into the more technical ones and start getting into the more specific ones, as once you get about, I guess, 1/3, maybe like 2/3 of the way into the progression, you tend to have most of your builds defined, aside from optimizations being needed. So effectively the best ones are the beginner ones, and then like your versatile ones in the middle section, and then finally once we get up to the third rounds, we're going to start the rest of this, which will be I'll start going over specific loadouts for specific things, maybe even theme loadouts, such as like real life military stuff like that. But effectively, once we get past the mid-tier loadouts, which I'm going to be doing next, we'll start getting into the more specific things, which are meant for very specific roles or very specific gameplay styles. That being said, hopefully you guys enjoyed me playing this, and yeah, you will get to see some of the MTAR in here. Overall, that's it really. Look forward to the support one coming out maybe later today, maybe tomorrow. Who knows? It all depends on if I want to record another thing tonight or not. And who knows? I might even post it directly after this one if I feel like recording the audio again. That being said, this is the end. Hopefully you guys enjoyed me talking about this loadout. And I guess that's it. This is This1530 signing off.